All right, y'all, welcome back in. This is the Chasing the Natty Kings Classic sit-start discussion. We are in week 7 of the season already, y'all. It has been a crazy season so far, and we got a lot to talk about from this past week. We got to talk about who we're going to sit, who we're going to start. As you'll see here in a second, we don't have a lot of options due to bye weeks, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about. For those who don't know, my name is Jared Palmgren. I am the host of the Chasing the Natty podcast, and underneath me, as always, is the ever-reliant Mr. Xavier Hood. Xavier, how are we doing today?
Doing all right. We're doing all right. Ready to get into this sit-start discussion.
Yep. So, as always, first we're going to start off with talking about last week, what happened and everything, whether we lost, won, what we think went wrong, what we think went right. Then we'll move on to the actual sit-start discussion. Tonight, we are actually going to also incorporate a little bit of trade talk. We'll get to that in a second. And then at the end, we'll talk about this upcoming week's matchup, and we'll discuss whether or not we think we have a chance or not. So, last week, we faced Justin from CFF Insiders, and I'll be honest, I thought we had a relatively good shot in this game. The final score of 252 to 185 said otherwise. We had a lot go wrong for us in this game. So, Xavier, I'm going to let you start and tell us what happened.
Yeah, it was tough. We got the quarterbacks right. We had projected, decent weeks for our quarterbacks, even though Sam Howell did not win the game against Florida State, still able to put up 30 points with over 100 yards rushing. And C.J. Stroud looks like he's gained his footing back at Ohio State, to where honestly, he kind of looks like a Heisman candidate quarterback, but it's too late in the season.
Travel goals.
He can come back and do those type of things. But he's putting up really good numbers, doing well for our team and where we drafted him. But where it really all started to go wrong was we'll say this: Michael Mayer, our only tight end for the team, got hurt, so that really sucked because he was a PPR monster. He probably didn't have the best of weeks in the past few weeks. He didn't get touchdowns, if I don't recall, but. That sucks having a player just have a big fat donut on your team. And then with the combination of Cal Phillips, a lot of people were very upset with the performance that UCLA showed against Arizona. And yeah, they wanted to take it out on Cal Phillips when honestly, if you watch that game, it was really on DTR. He just didn't have a good showing. Couldn't throw the ball very successfully down the field. So they ended up having to rely on the run game, where Britton Bowden and Zach Charbonnet just ended up having the days that, other people needed and not for us. And then on the other side for Justin, it just was unfair. He probably had at least 4 or 5 players with like the highest fantasy points per game out of the entire league. And Bailey Zappi keeps on putting up 40 to 50 point performances. So we had to account for that. Carson Strong put up a good day as well, too, throwing 6 touchdowns against New Mexico State. Mm-hmm. And then Sean Tucker, big name. A lot of people did not know about him going into the season. He was a freshman last year, and now he still classified as a freshman this year, putting up big numbers for Syracuse. He's the heart and soul of that offense. With Garrett Schroeder as well, too, with their QB changes. But Sean Tucker is just a consistent guy for that program, and, yeah, he continues to put up big numbers. Calvin Austin had a big day as well, too. I mean, we all know who Calvin Austin is, great wide receiver in Memphis. Seth Hennigan is doing a good job, initiating the offense and getting things going and getting the ball in his hands. So nothing really we could do. We're kind of limited. I mean, we relied on our guys. Kenneth Walker did well, like we always do, a Heisman candidate. Ty Chandler is always up and down. He got us a touchdown, but that game, Florida State and UNC game, was just terrible from what we saw. Rashi did well, but it just wasn't enough. And then Jared made the mistake of signing Brandon Bennett to our team, or Brandon Bennett to our team, and he had a terrible day.
Yeah, this was not going to be it's not that our process was. Don't get me wrong. The Bennett blunder is going to be infamous on this show going forward and everything like that. But things just didn't break our way. Like if you're looking over here on the right, if you are watching on YouTube, like it breaks down like all the different stats and everything. just things didn't break our way. Insiders had almost 900 yards of passing versus our 600 yards of passing. He had 11 touchdowns. We had 7. In terms of receptions, which in a full PPR league is massive, he had double the amount that we had. He had 40 receptions. We had 20. And I think that's something we got to really consider going forward. Like, I know Xavier and I both are big guys on starting running backs in our flex because they get more touches, but we have to remember that wide receivers do get an entire extra point every time they touch the ball. So I think that's something we do have to remember and consider going forward. Receiving touchdowns, he didn't outgain us on that too much. He had 3 receiving touchdowns, but again, those yards really killed us. 570 receiving yards to 216. And then we actually won on the run game because, again, we started more running backs, but we had 477 rushing yards. Justin had 232. We had 3 rushing touchdowns. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. But again, it was none of it was going to make up for everything he blew out us in the receiving and the passing. This just wasn't meant to be. I thought it was close pretty much all the way until the end of the night when Carson Strong came on. And then he just blew everything out of the water. And again, this game ended up just not being very close. We're now 3-3 on the season, if I remember correctly. We are still the number 6 team in the league. So we're sitting kind of on the outside of that playoff cusp, but we can still get there. In terms of fantasy points scored throughout the entire season, we're actually 4th in the league. So that's a good sign for us going forward. I'd say that. So I guess now we just move on to this week, and we'll go ahead and start with our quarterback discussion. So Xavier, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, we only have 2 options to put at quarterback this week, sadly. I mean, we have one other, but we'll speak on that a little bit. But we have Caleb Ellaby for Western Michigan starting against Kent State. They play Saturday at 3:30, and we have Sam Howell, UNC, facing Miami Saturday at 3:30. And our only other guy on the bench is JT Daniels that we drafted just as a fun homer pick and also for the upside of like throwing passing touchdowns. But he is questionable for that game, whether he will start and play the entire game. So I think for now, I'm okay with who we have at quarterback. Caleb Ellaby and Sam Howell, I think they're going to have decent days, especially Sam Howell in a bounce-back game of losing. And Caleb Ellaby, if that Western Michigan offense is like clicking like they were during that Pittsburgh game, then I think Caleb Ellaby can put up great numbers for us this week. Yeah,
again, I've made fun of Ellaby on this show too many times to count. He's still on our roster. And now we got to count on him. He's averaging about 19.15 points per game in this league. I'm hoping that against a much softer Kent State MAC defense that he'll finally be able to put up some really good numbers. So far, he didn't do very well against Ball State, but against Buffalo, he looked a little bit better. Pitt was, again, surprisingly, Pitt was the game that he really went off. So I'm hoping that in a real shootout with Kent, it'll force him to kind of be utilized a little bit more, pass the ball a little bit more. So Sam Howell, our boy, reliant as always, I think, in terms of just getting us points every single week, whether he wins or loses his matchup. So I'm in agreement with you, Xavier. I might have considered JT Daniels if we knew that he was going to start this weekend, but it doesn't look like anything's been confirmed, so I'm willing to ride with Ellaby.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to running backs, and there's nothing to discuss here, really, because every other running back we have is on bye, and all the rest of them are starting. So we have Ty Chandler, Kenneth Walker, our 2 main guys right there, Tyler Algier, Chez Mellusi. 4 solid running backs there, I think. Regardless, you can kind of rely on those guys. None of them are really going up against a matchup that I'm really scared about. Probably the only one might be Chez Mellusi with Army, because that's just going to create minimal scoring opportunities in that game. But even still, if Mellusi gets the carries, he's going to be fine. And again, we'll discuss a little bit more what we might want to do with those running backs here in a second. But Xavier, you want to talk about our wide receiver situation?
Yeah. So sadly, I mean, our first round draft pick, David Bell, is going against Iowa, and that is a tough team to face, as you all know.
I want to point out, last 2 years he's faced Iowa, he's had over 100 yards.
Okay.
I just want to point that out, and 1 or 2 touchdowns.
Okay. I would love to believe that for this year that he's going to put up those similar numbers, but that Iowa secondary looks legit from what they've shown for these past 2 or 3 games. It has a little bit cause for concern, but he's a first round pick for a reason. So the talent should still be able to put up, at least somewhat of a good floor for production. The big question mark I can say for our team right now is because at receiver is Kyle Phillips, UCLA. It's really sad. He was a consistent, like he was absolutely the number one guy and still is for that UCLA receiving core. It's just the fact of like what UCLA's identity is right now. And it seems like they're going to have to rely on the run game, especially against Washington's passing defense, to where they're pretty decent there themselves. But, if I'll say it may bode well to where if UCLA continues with the run game, maybe that'll open up some opportunities for Kyle Phillips to, maybe break away for maybe a big one. So hopefully we can get a few touches in there, maybe or not, but not too happy about this one. But it's not all who we really have. We still have one more name on our bench, but I'll go through the rest of our guys. We have our last guy, Charleston Rambo at UNC, Saturday 3:30. I think Charleston Rambo with Van Dyke. It is sad that Derek King is gone for the year. It looks like Van Dyke is the QB to go forward. I mean, Jake Garcia can still have a claim for, getting some minutes and getting good playing time to compete for that QB1. But for now, I think it's Van Dyke. And I think Van Dyke is a decent quarterback, and it's a decent matchup as well, too. I don't know what's going on with UNC and their program and what Mac Brown is doing, but people are able to score on them. And it's really getting kind of abysmal at this point to where I just like we said, if you watched our preview for this week, it's not that we were completely torn about who we're choosing for this to win this game, but it wasn't UNC by a lot. It was it was really close. So, yeah, I'm fine with Charleston Rambo starting because it's all we really have. And then I guess on our bench, we got off our waiver wire, our one waiver wire pick that we were able to get. We got Jalen Naylor of Michigan State. It's looking like to have a breakout season. A lot of people were going into this year thinking that Jaden Reed was going to be that wide receiver number one. And he still can be.
I would say he was for a minute there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he still is. I think he's just getting a lot of attention. And now people are saying, holy crap, Michigan State has two really good receivers.
And Naylor's a speed threat.
Yeah, Naylor is the deep speed threat. So, the secondary has to have more eyes and attention on him now, that especially after this performance he put up against Rutgers, where he had 3 touchdowns and over 200 yards receiving. So it's ridiculous. I'm going to advocate for Jalen Naylor to start, and it's probably going to be over Kyle Phillips if you agree as well, too.
I see really no reason to disagree there and everything. Again, Washington's passing defense is legitimate. If UCLA manages to somehow get their passing offense going in that game, I'll be legitimately shocked.
Yeah.
I that would just go against process here. So, tight end, I grabbed Peyton Hendershot off the waiver wire. Or not waiver wire. He's actually a free agent. We were able to just kind of scoop him up before the waivers kind of went through and everything. Michael Mayer on our IR. As soon as he is good to go, hopefully after this bye week, they'll have him back out there. But until then, we're going to ride with Peyton Hendershot, tight end out of Indiana. Honestly, in a game against Michigan State, I can see him getting plenty of use. So I say we ride with him for right now.
Yeah.
So the other thing we need to talk about here, Kevin Brown, KB, as many of you guys know him in the CFF space, has started shopping around his wide receivers. He has a great wide receiver core. Specifically, he has offered up Jalen Cropper and Jarreth Stearns for trade. And I think, given our current wide receiver situation, we have not had a super strong wide receiving core all year. Especially now that bye weeks are hitting us, it's hard for us to get consistent work out of our wide receivers. So I think grabbing one of those two guys would be huge for our team. And so I think we should legitimately consider, Kevin specifically said that he is looking for a running back at depth for his team. And so I think we should offer him not Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, I think, off the table.
No, that's untouchable.
We would be in trouble without Kenneth Walker. But I do think it's perfectly reasonable for us to offer maybe one of or two of our 2 to 4 RB 2 to 4s up for him and see if he takes it. So Xavier, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, you know what? I think going out in these trade talks, usually when I initiate trades, I see if I can not to say I it's all about the art of the deal. like our former president has famously coined in that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to get a feel of like what people are asking and see what people are truly wanting, because they can say what they want, but that's not what they truly mean. So I feel like at this point, I mean, I love Tyler Algier and I love Ches Malusi going forward. So I feel like right now, if I were to just offer Ty Chandler and maybe one of those other guys, maybe not like those two guys outright, because that could be like our maximum of what we're willing to give up.
He's already
But
let us know in the chat that he has said that be prepared to open up your checkbooks, and I don't think he's going to take Tyler Algier and Ty Chandler seriously. I think we have to start with Malusi and Algier.
I don't know. I mean, I think our checkbook, honestly, with him like lacking at running back depth, I think Ty Chandler has a good shout to where like, yeah, it's not looking so well right now with UNC, but we're giving him Algier, a reliable guy that gets touchdown, and we're giving you the upside of Ty Chandler to where he gets receiving work, he can break off for long. I think that just, it's good to just get a feeling of like, all right, is this what if he just magically agrees to this, then it works out for us in our favor.
Dude, the troubling part for us here is that he's going to listen to this podcast and know this is what we're doing. But even
but at the same time, like he can take this and we'll be fine with it.
That's true.
Or he cannot.
I'm going to go ahead and put in the offer then. I want Jarrett Stearns. I think we're both in agreement that Jarrett Stearns is the guy we want. 34 points a game, man. That's going to be hard for. I really think we should just go ahead with Malusi and Algier.
I mean, if he doesn't like our offer, then he can come back. It's not like we're gonna just end negotiations. I think that could be our second negotiation of Malusi and Tyler Algier. But starting off with Ty Chandler and Algier.
All right, what do we want to say in the trade message?
Well.
2 quality. That's not how you spell quality. 2 quality RBs for depth. Willing to hear counter offers.
Well, don't add the counter offer point. Don't add the counter offer point.
For a stud wide receiver.
Yeah. I think we just allow him to, if he doesn't like it, then he's like, nah, I can't accept this. And then we initiate a counter offer and like, but we don't want to let them know that we're, this is our low hand.
Mm-hmm. See, I wanted, what happened was I wanted to have KB come onto the show. Fortunately, he's traveling tonight, which I know, safe travels and everything like that. But I asked him, I was just like, hey, you want to come onto the show and we can like hash this out live on show? And he's like, dude, I would totally be down for that if I wasn't traveling tonight. I'm like, dang it. So we're going to put this through. See what he thinks of it.
Yeah.
We're going to see what he thinks of it. I think it's going to take Algier and Malusi at the very least, and God knows he's going to come for Kenneth Walker. He is. But I'm not willing to part with Kenneth Walker here.
We're not going to give that up.
I'll be honest, I'd be willing to give up 3 of our running backs if it meant us getting Jarrett Stearns. I'd be willing to give up Malusi, Algier, and then give him somebody like Corbin.
I don't know about 3. I would need a
dude,
player.
Stearns is a game changer for us if we get him though.
It would be tough.
I know. I'm big on Stearns. Now, if he counters offers and says I don't want Stearns for those 2, but if he wants to give us Cropper for those 2, I'm down.
I'm down for that too.
I'm down. I think definitely like Stearns is the prize pig here, but if we can get Cropper in a deal like that, I'm happy with it. So, Not really much else to discuss in terms of sitting and starting because so many of our guys are on bye this week. So we're going to have to move on.
Yeah, to our matchups.
So we're going to go ahead and take a look at our matchup for this week, and that is with Mr. John MeKechnie. And he is... on his team, he's got a quarterback, Jake Heiner and Peyton Thorne. His running backs are Dwayne McBride and Chris Rodriguez. His wide receivers are Jack Sorensen out of Miami of Ohio, Jalen Tolbert, and Jamison Williams. He also has Jelani Woods at tight end, and his two flexes are Rasheen Ali and Johannes Tyler. So Xavier, I'll start with you. Do you think we have a chance in this game?
Yes, I think we do. I think we have a legit chance, and not like in past weeks. I think with the up and downs, not even an up and down season for Dwayne McBride, he just hasn't had a good season. And then Chris Rodriguez, you're going against that UGA defense. It's not going to bode well to where I don't think we've had anybody really rush over 100 yards against us so far this season. I mean, he can still get a touchdown in there. But I mean, he can still get a touchdown in there as well too, and he can, get a little bit of receiving work. But I think our defense is just that stout to where we'll be able to limit Kentucky running the ball against us anyway. So I don't think that's a favorable matchup. And then the only thing I see, like Rasheen Ali facing North Texas on Friday is probably the best matchup he has that I can see. Well, obviously Jamison Williams versus Mississippi State. But in terms of skill positions, yeah, I like Jamison Williams for John and Rasheen Ali. But everywhere else, I think we have an advantage. I mean,
I'm letting you know right now, Jalen Tolbert, those stats are off. I'm looking at the live update from ESPN. He currently has 6 receptions for 112 yards and a touchdown. So he's over 20 points already.
Nice.
So Jalen Tolbert was a good play for him already. So we're already a little behind there. And like I said, I'm not trusting our receiving core too much this week.
Yeah, now that I look at the receiving core, oh man.
So it's
Jack Sorensen. Oh man, these past 2 weeks, Jack Sorensen is getting a lot of receptions. Maybe not a lot of touchdowns, but
I agree with you that his running back matchups are just not very good. Dwayne McBride has been splitting so much work in recent weeks. His last 2 games have both been in single digits. So if he continues to play him, that's on Mr. MeKechnie, who's on his bench. No, he's not playing either of those guys.
Yeah.
And then Chris Rodriguez again going up against UJ's defense. I can't really see him having that great of a day. So I think Kenneth Walker and Ty Chandler will be good for there. Rasheen Ali is going to help him out a lot. Johannes Tyler, I haven't really kept much up on him. Let's see, how's he been? Oh, he's been doing really good recently. So I don't know if you can see that, Xavier, but he's had 19.5 and 26.3 points recently. So
absolutely. Yeah.
He has another great week this week. He's going against Eastern Michigan, who has a very pitiful defense. So we'll see what happens there. Heiner is going to be another one to watch, I think. Peyton Thorne, we have Jalen Naylor, so that could cancel itself out right there.
And Kenneth Walker, so
you're right, and Kenneth Walker. So
takes the ball away from his hands a little bit.
I think we're good on that one. Honestly, I might be watching this Michigan State Indiana game. Seems like there's going to be a lot of stuff here of interest for us there.
Absolutely.
So Xavier, I'm going to ask you, prediction. Do we win or do we not?
I think we win. I think we finally end our little, it's been 2 weeks since we had a win? Or 3 weeks?
I believe we are on a losing streak of 2. No, we destroyed John. So we're 1-1 over the last 2 weeks, but even still.
Okay. So yeah, I think we'll win this week.
I think we win as well. Again, I don't like his running back matchups. I think that's going to hurt him quite a bit there. His wide receivers worry me, especially with Jalen Tolbert just going off right now. I'll say that much. Rasheen Ali, obviously, somebody we always have to watch. But I think Peyton Thorne, we cancel him out even if he has a good day with Jalen Naylor. The only worry we have to do is if he decides to go to Reed all day.
Yeah.
But even still, and then Jake Heiner. If we get Cropper before the game starts, that's another cancel out right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think we win, and I think it's probably going to be... I'm just going to always predict a close win.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close as well, too. I think Jamison Williams is a guy to look out for, especially. And then having the Miami of Ohio top two receivers, one of them's going to have to break off. Mm-hmm. If they both can have good games, then that's not going to bode well for us. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think it'll be close.
All right. So there you guys have it. That was our sit start discussion. Not really a lot of sit start discussion this week because again, so many of our guys are on bye. But we did kind of get some trade talk in there for you guys. You can even see that Xavier and I don't exactly agree on what the value or what the strategy should be on that. So maybe got two different perspectives of where we can come from on that trade deal. We'll probably hear back from Kevin here in a bit. He's currently in the air right now, so I imagine we'll hear back from him when he lands. We kind of discussed last week's matchup, this week's matchup. Both Xavier and I think we're going to win this week, being very optimistic, I think. And yeah, so we'll talk to you guys next week. We'll figure out whether or not we drop above 5 or drop below 500 or we go above 500 on the season. Again, based on just total points so far in the season, I think that it bodes well for us to continue to have success. And I'd really, really like it if we could just get back into that top 4 and just make it to the playoffs in our first year in this league. So with that, Xavier, you have anything else before we head out?
Nope, that's it. I'm excited for the week 7 of college football. A lot of not that many big games, but a lot of there's a few important ones that you don't want to miss. So it would definitely be an exciting weekend, like always.
All right, y'all. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that notification bell, all that good jazz. Let us know what you guys think about our trade offer to Kevin. Do you think we lowballed it? Do you think we're offering too much? Do you think we're going about it all the wrong ways? Let us know down below. We want to hear from you guys. In addition to that, make sure you're following us on Twitter. I am at CFF_Jared. He is at CFF_Xavier. Hit us up there with any sit starts discussions, questions you want to ask us. We are all ears and we are all mouths. That is not a saying. I need to move on. I'm getting tired. Y'all, thank you once again for listening. Make sure you're following us on all our platforms, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave those 5-star reviews. We love listening to those. In addition, I currently have a questionnaire out on Twitter. You can look through my Twitter. You can probably find it there. I'll be retweeting it several times throughout the upcoming days. Please take some time to fill it out, y'all. We love hearing back from you guys, and we want to hear what you guys think will make the show better, what you want us to do more of, what you want us to do less of. We want to hear from you guys, and we got some great responses already, things we will be trying to incorporate as the season goes on. So again, y'all, thank you so much for listening, and y'all have a fantastic, blessed day.